Before we get started in today's show, I want to tell you about Stamps.com, longtime sponsor of the BS Report. It's quick, it's convenient. More importantly, it's really, really easy to use. You do not have to go to the post office anymore. You can just stay home. Make your own office, your personal post office. You can avoid lines. You can avoid just standing there as somebody mails some package, some 79-year-old lady. Who needs that? Make your own mailing and shipping from your house. Stamps.com. Put in the top right of the site, BS. You'll get a deal and a scale and a whole bunch of other things. It's a great product. You can buy and print official U.S. postage using your computer and printer. Stamps.com will give you a digital scale. It will automatically calculate the exact postage for any letter, any package. They'll even help you choose the best class of mail. Wow. Why go to the post office? Just give it to the postman. Stamps.com. Check it out.
The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects. The BS Report. The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report. Taping this on a Tuesday morning. Normally we do Guess the Lines with Cousin Sal on Monday, but last night there were 2 Monday Night Football games, so I did a podcast with Michelle Beadle instead. You can hear that on our YouTube channel, on iTunes, or on ESPN.com's Pod Center. Now, without further ado, Week 2 lines. Cousin Sal, how are you?
What's happening, Billy? Boy, a rough first weekend for us, huh?
Yeah, well, rough and not rough, because we called it the year of the dog, and the underdogs went 11-5. Somehow I didn't go 11-5 in my column. I think I went 9-7. Why don't I listen to myself?
I know, and it's like we spent 7 months cursing World Cup soccer and baseball and hockey playoffs and hot dog eating contest. There's no way to bet on this stuff. Longing for football's return, and then the Cowboys get crushed, and the Pats look sad in their opener, and our bets sucked, and we gave out underdogs. That's all. You wrote 15,000 words on it's the year of the dog, and they went 10-3 on Sunday. You know what? Get lost, football.
And one of my favorite I did the super contest. I went 2-3. My favorite underdog pick was the Jaguars getting 10.5, which I just assumed I had won when they were up 17-0 at halftime or third quarter, whenever it was. Yeah. And then somehow they blew it. And then on the flip side, the Colts-Broncos game was over to the point that I actually turned away from it. Totally forgot about Andrew Luck's comeback ability. And for whatever reason, Denver, their offense sucked in the second half. And I wonder, like Manning said afterwards, that they looked sluggish, or that they were sluggish. And I only missed one Indianapolis. I saw all the Denver offensive series. I thought they had trouble blocking Indy in the second half, which was surprising. Did you take anything away from that?
Yeah, no, it seemed like they were getting a little bit of rush on Manning, and maybe it was complacency. Maybe they felt, we're the Broncos and we're up 24-7, whatever they were up, and they laid back a little bit. But I wouldn't put them in the top 3 right now, Denver. In fact, I think. Here's what I would do. I think I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to eliminate a team or 2 or 3 each week from the playoffs. If you were to say that, which teams would you say are definitely not making the playoffs right now?
Definitely not?
Yeah, cross them off.
It's a little early.
I would say only the Rams.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Rams could trade for Eli Manning in a week.
Oh, God. Then I would definitely say the Rams.
What? Is Eli Manning worth a first-round pick?
No. First round, no. I don't think
Is he worth a second-rounder?
Well, I mean, here's a guy, he's going to get, barely more touchdowns than interceptions. That ratio is way low compared to the average quarterback, I think.
Is he that bad, or does he just not have any weapons whatsoever? Like, if you're playing, you're going to play the Giants at some point. Not that you have a good team either, but
yeah.
What Giant is frightening to you offensively? What Giant skill player is the guy who makes you go, oh, we got to watch out for that guy? I mean, even Victor Cruz is a good receiver. I don't think he's frightening.
They have this guy, Donnell, who I think caught a touchdown pass yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're in trouble, and I think the NFC East, just like last year, is bad news all around. I think they had 3 of the 4 quarterbacks had like 8 or 9 turnovers. One of them was Foles. It's bad. That's the only reason I wouldn't include the Cowboys in the list of, with the Rams. But I do put the Rams there only because what division they're in, and a real bad start. Doesn't look.
I would put the Raiders in there too, to be honest.
You do?
I would put those would be the 2. I just don't see any scenario where the Raiders make the playoffs.
Probably not. I want to see one more game out of them, though.
Yeah, me too. But I do think the Rams could trade for a QB. They were awful in that Vikings game, but when your quarterback stinks, and I do think he got benched at halftime personally, but when your quarterback just doesn't show up, it's pretty tough to win. And we always say this in the Week 2 podcast: don't overreact to Week 1. And there's a couple things that I think are overreactable.
Yeah.
One was Josh McCown just sucked in the first 3 quarters of that Bucs game. Like, he just sucked. He sucked to the point that anyone who bet the Bucs in that game or picked them to make the playoffs, and I include myself in both groups, said to themselves, "Oh my God, I'm the biggest idiot on the planet." I thought 35-year-old Josh McCown was a good QB because of 5 games that he played in Chicago with Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall. I want to kill myself.
Yeah.
But then in the fourth quarter, he kind of heated up. So now I don't know what to think. What do you think?
What I think is that game was classically set up for just you and me. That was a classic Bill Sal scenario. We both like Tampa to make the playoffs going into the season, which was a stretch. And we both liked them Week 1 against the Panthers team, who everyone thought would fall off like 6 or 7 games, let alone win opening week without Cam Newton. And the line was under 3 for most of the week. I think it went to 5 starting Sunday, but we got in early, and boy, did we get a slap in the face for that one.
Could that have worked out better? You had Derek Anderson starting against a Tampa defense that we both thought was excellent.
Yeah.
Defense did not have the kind of pass rush I thought it was going to have. And this is the thing about Week 1. You can't overreact. I need to see more games because, all right, New England looked bad in the second half of the Miami game. Like, I think Brady was 10 for 27 for 62 yards or something. In the fourth quarter, he was 6 for 20 for 32 yards. He got sacked a bunch of times, had no time. There was okay, so are the Pats bad, or maybe Miami is really good? Like, you thought Miami was good before the season. What if Miami's one of the best 5 teams, and that's not as bad of a loss as we thought it was?
I loved Miami going into that. I thought the biggest flaw was obviously protecting Tannehill. He was sacked 58 times last year, and I think they shored up that offensive line. He was still running, though, a little bit. Even the passes he got off was a little rough. But the pass rush on Brady is what surprised me, why they were so soft in the middle. And you got this Logan Mankins trade for a tight end that they're not even going to play so far. That doesn't look great. I'd be pissed if I was Brady right now.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I didn't expect from the Dolphins, I didn't think they were going to run the ball like that. Yeah. Knowshon Moreno, who went at the tail end of everyone's fantasy draft, right?
Yep.
He looked like Knowshon Moreno from last year. I think there's a feeling that Manning had being in the Manning offense had made him look much better than he was. Him and Lamar Miller really, really gashed up the Patriots. Like, they ran the hell out of the ball the whole game.
Yeah, they ran with purpose. I did not expect that. Like Marshawn Lynch type intensity, which was weird to see any Dolphin player exhibit. But you're right. The Patriots, Packers, and Saints are not going to end up in last place. And hopefully, for my sake, Jamal Charles won't rush for 28 yards a game. So, yeah, let's all calm down. Figure it out. Like I said, the only team I'd count out is the Rams right now, but you might not even count them out. So,
I'm counting them out. I don't know what. Maybe there's a trade that could be made to save them, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
you can't win without a quarterback. The Packers, the run defense is an issue.
Yep.
I'm not ready to cross them off yet or say they're not a playoff team, but the run defense in the Seattle game was atrocious.
DJ Raji, that's a huge gap in the middle, that big body being gone, and it showed last week. It was bad.
And then the Pats had a lot of trouble blocking, and we're going to find out if that was because Miami's defense is better than we thought or because the Pats' offensive line is awful.
Yep.
And then who's the third? The Saints. Now, for me, the Saints are the one that I think out of those 3 teams should be the most worried because they couldn't get any stops whatsoever. Like, their offense played really well in that game. They should have won that game. They literally couldn't make a play on defense, and their secondary, which everybody said was such a big deal, they'd fixed it. It was blah, blah, blah. Their defense is now as good as their offense. Their defense sucked, and I don't know if that's going to change going forward. I
don't know what that's about, though. You read about Rob Ryan's defense and what a great turnaround it was from that awful year where 2 years ago when everyone was suspended, and but I think it still wasn't in the top 10 or 15 in the major categories. I think I read that, and they pick up Jarius Byrd, and Vaccaro's nice back there. You have secondary shored up. At least it seems like on paper. And then it really just seemed offensively like they were going to I think you had them in the super contest, right? It seemed like they were they could put them away at any time if they managed the clock right, and they were just going to score more points. But this isn't the team that I picked them to win the Super Bowl. I thought they'd be Denver last year, where they just thrash everyone by 3 touchdowns, and I'm not so sure that's happening now. I really don't.
Yeah, their defense is not what we thought it was.
Yeah,
and there's you look at they took the lead with I think a minute 20 left, something like that. 3-point lead. You should just take care of business. Atlanta just rolled down the field and got the tying field goal.
Yeah.
Then you look at the Pats game. They were down 3. Brady missed Edelman. And it was kind of like the back-breaking play of that game, I felt like.
That was it.
And then the other one in that Tampa game, which everybody's like, oh, Carolina, they did it. What a great job. The freaking guy in Tampa dropped the interception on the Carolina 28 with 2.5 minutes left. Right to him and right through his hands. It was the Derek Anderson pass I was waiting for 4 quarters. He threw it right to the guy, and the guy missed it.
Yeah, not good. Well,
and they catch that. I think Tampa wins that game. So the one thing I will say with Carolina, and we might have been off on them in this respect, the defense is great. It's just as good as it was last year. They're super physical, and part of me is thinking we always audible from what we think before the season because you have to as a gambler. Mm-hmm. I might just switch Carolina and Tampa in my head.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Carolina's D was great.
It does keep them in every game. It really does keep them in every game. They got, like I said last week, they have 6 blue chippers on that defense. And, it's tough. Maybe just not bet against them. They'll probably pull out some close ones this year.
Also, Kelvin Benjamin is really good.
Yeah.
I went into the season thinking, man, they don't have any receivers. That guy's good. He made plays.
He looks like a third-year player. Yeah, but, Derek Anderson makes everyone look good. You know that.
The one, if you're talking about, I just got that joke. I was looking at the week, too. The one thing I think you don't want to get too carried away with the Vikings because the Rams are terrible. But at the same time, the Vikings and the Titans, which were 2 possible sleeper teams, and they might have just beaten 2 bad teams, but they showed me everything I would have wanted in those week 1 games. So I have my eye on both of those teams.
Definitely. Yeah, you did have the Vikings was your big one. The Dolphins was the only one I could hang my head on. But now you're stuck because the Vikings play the Pats, and we'll get to the line in a minute, but it's a win-win for you. You could have a 2-0 Vikings team, and you can call everyone out. Is that what you're rooting for?
The Patriots don't lose back-to-back games. So if they lose back-to-back games here, that's the biggest red flag you can fly.
Was it? I didn't write the stat down, but it seems like, I know he caught a touchdown pass, but Gronkowski's, it's probably hasn't had much time with Brady. They're a little out of sync. I think his percentage per target was way, way down compared to normal. So I don't know. I think that'll go up, and you'll see the Patriots of old.
He didn't seem like the physical force of nature he usually is.
No.
And, not to belabor your Cowboys situation, but.
No, we have to talk about them. We did nicely. We went 8-9 minutes without speaking of them.
The only thing I'm going to say is Romo physically doesn't look right. Anybody who watched that game could not have come away thinking that guy is in tip-top physical shape right now. And I don't mean from, being in shape as jogging and stuff like that. He just looks physically a little bit broken down.
Well, I agree. And I feel like if I say that, it's making excuses. And then I just get a whole other barrage of tweets saying I'm making excuses. But, this
just
guy
don't read the tweets.
It's 31 touchdowns, 11 interceptions last year. He doesn't throw 3 interceptions a game. And he doesn't throw interceptions on play action pass. He threw 0 interceptions on play action passes last year. And that's where he excelled, and he threw 3, and they were all his fault. The first 2 were definitely his fault.
Yeah.
The third one, even one that he didn't have, he threw up for grabs. He could have had one, but yeah, he's like Don Mattingly, 1985, I think right now. I think that.
No, I would say 1989.
89.
Yeah, that's
maybe 2014. 1995. What did I say?
1995. Yeah. And it wasn't just the passes. It was him getting hit and the way he was getting off the turf, stuff like that. He just didn't look right. And I think that's a problem, obviously. Mm-hmm. I was talking to Sharp about this yesterday. Andrew Sharp, who works for Grantland, who's a Cowboys fan. Mm-hmm. At what point do you just root for the year from hell season where you go 1-15 and everybody kind of comes to the conclusion that Jerry Jones shouldn't be in charge of stuff anymore?
Yeah, well, I think that's a foregone conclusion for sure.
Okay.
But they and I think whether we root for it or not as Cowboys fans, I think you're right. And I think that's about to happen. Not maybe 1-15, but I see 5-11. We're gonna yearn for the days we were 8-8. It was a punchline that we're always 8-8, but this is going to be a struggle. And that defense didn't get a chance to play poorly because of they didn't have to give the ball over to the Niners too much offensively. But yeah, the worst is yet to come, I think, for the Cowboys. I hate to say
The problem is you have 3 teams in that division.
Right.
The Giants suck.
Mm-hmm.
They're awful. I don't see that getting better. I didn't even think the Lions played that well in that game.
No.
And then the Reds suck. Why are the Reds good? They had 6 points in Houston.
And
how's that
tell you,
changing?
The Eagles, not sold on the Eagles. They'll end up probably with more wins than everybody, but definitely saw some flaws in that team.
Let's go through the Eagles' schedule quickly before we do the Week 2 lines.
Yeah, well, they'll end up with wins. Let's see.
Let's see. So they still have 6 games against the NFC East.
They're at Indy.
At Indy, at San Francisco, home for St. Louis, at Arizona, at Houston, home for Carolina, at Green Bay, home for Tennessee, home for Seattle, home for then the last 3 NFC East games.
Yeah. 8, 9, 10 wins.
It feels like a really cheap 10-6.
Yeah. That's a first place schedule, by the way. That does not seem like one.
I'm already excited to bet against them around one of the playoffs.
There you go.
It'll be nice. They couldn't have felt good about that game.
Foles is human. We know that now. Nothing else.
The big winners, if you're going to anoint a 10-point game, I'm trying this new system for my own private records where I rank every team's performance from 1 to 10 to see if there's any correlation. Like, if you play a 10-point game, is that bad for you the following week out of 1 to 10? So I think the only 10-point performance in week 1 was Buffalo. Like, all the factors considered of on the road, the nobody believes in us factor. They played great. They had the EJ Manuel gave the great speech that everybody was fired up about. Like, they were really physical. Like, they outplayed the Bears. They deserved to win that game.
Ugh.
So now what happens to them in week 2? We see this happen all the time. Somebody looks awesome one week. They look bad the next week. Somebody looks bad one week. All of a sudden they bounce back the next week. And they're playing at home against Miami, which is the first line I guess we'll talk about. Oh, I guess we have to do Thursday Night Line first, but that Miami at Buffalo, those are 2 teams that look good in week 1. That's a tough line to pick.
All right, well, let's jump back. We'll do that one, and then we'll jump back. What do you have for that one?
I battled on it. I think Vegas is going to be more prone to trust Miami, and I think the public's going to trust Miami a little more than Buffalo just because Buffalo won because Jay Cutler threw an interception in the nose tackle. So I have Miami actually favored in this game, Miami by 1.5.
Oh, that's exactly what I had. And it started off as Buffalo -1, but now it's Miami -1.
Okay, so we were off by 1/2.
Yeah, so there is the public is pushing Miami, and Buffalo is one of those teams. That's where I get the most grief from people because I said they would win 3 games, and I thought they'd be the worst, and I think Marone would be fired. I don't know, 6 days ago, he was nose-to-nose with his CEO when he was breaking up fights on the practice field, and then they come out and beat the Bears on the road. And I think when we pick these games, it's these teams like the over-under wins, it's important to know, like, you could have everyone at 8-8 or 7-9, but if you look through, there's 3 or 4 teams that are 4-12 or worse, and there's 3 or 4 teams that are 12-4 or worse. So if you're going to pick a team to have 5 wins, you could stretch it and say they're going to have 3, and that's what I did with Buffalo. And like I said, for those very reasons, I thought they would collapse, and they showed a lot more than I thought. And the Bears, conversely, I thought would be great. And what happened to them?
We talked extensively about the dangers of that Bears game.
Yeah,
that everybody was going to tease them with the Seahawks and or the Broncos.
Yep.
That everybody was throwing either them or the Eagles into the eliminator pool.
Mm-hmm.
And I even wrote all this stuff, and yet I still pick the Bears. I still put them in teases. I might just be a moron. Is that possible? Am I just a moron? Am I just an idiot?
I definitely think we need to isolate that clip. I don't know what we'd use it for, but you saying that is very.
I might just be a moron. That's the title of my next book. I might just be a moron. All right,
now I could die in peace. I might just be a moron.
Now I can die with a low IQ. All right.
Didn't it feel like the Bears could win that game the whole time? That's how I felt about the Saints. So I was like, I'm not even worried. When it was 17-7, I was like, oh, boy, this is a mess. But when they cut it to 3, I said, oh, the Bears are going to win in the last possession, and that'll be that. But, this Bills team. Are you kidding me?
Rodney Harrison said a couple of really dumb things on Sunday night.
No.
But the one thing I thought that was smart was when he was talking about how embarrassing that Fred Jackson overtime run was.
Yeah.
You're home. Yeah. It's basically a do-or-die situation. That team's at midfield. It's not like he just ran through a giant hole and just was running pay dirt. Like, he was knocking guys down as he was running, and there was no urgency at all in the Bears' defense. And if I'm a Chicago fan, I'm really concerned about that play.
Yeah, they didn't show Mike Ditka type toughness in their backyard there, for sure. But
somebody told me Mike Ditka is still on the ESPN Sunday NFL show.
Stop it. You know he is.
No, I didn't see it. I was surprised to hear that.
Yeah, of course he is.
Okay.
He did the ice bucket challenge. He did all sorts of stuff.
Does that mean I'm going to have this podcast for the next 38 years?
Do you get ESPN? I thought you got it.
I don't really go there on Sunday mornings.
All right, let's jump back to Thursday. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Not a lot going on. Not a big storyline there at all. I don't know.
TMZ.
Yeah.
They dropped that thing right between the Sunday and Monday things. It was probably the only story that could have happened that would have overshadowed everybody talking about Sunday. The only winner of the whole TMZ story was Tony Romo, who was spared of an entire day of whether he should be a starting quarterback stories. But
he may have planted it. He may have paid
he found the elevator video.
Some of that signing bonus.
But
it's terrible, and I don't care if Ray Rice ever plays again. He's a scumbag, but I don't want to see. I don't want to keep saying it. I really don't want to keep saying it.
I know.
I hate it.
It's a horrible story. I wish I hadn't seen the video, and I was really surprised that we showed it at halftime in the game.
Yeah,
I think that's one of those videos that you should kind of choose whether you want to watch or not. It was tough to watch, especially as somebody who has a 9-year-old daughter. I had trouble with it. I wish I didn't watch it, and I didn't like that we showed it at halftime.
All right.
That couldn't be a worse spot for the Ravens to play on Thursday after this Ray Rice, one of the all-time debacles and black eye moments in NFL history, and they have to play 3 days later. And also, you and I have spent our fair share of time in casinos.
Yeah.
I think everyone knows every part of a casino has a camera.
Yeah, well, the stupidity goes on and on and on. I just, if you really want to break it down, the NFL stupidity is right there at the top of the list. What do they think happened in that elevator for that to be the result? Also, at what point do you realize there's a camera in the elevator, outside the elevator, when you're violently dragging her? It's bad news all around. The
other part is, I think Beadle mentioned this on the podcast yesterday, so I'm stealing from her, but the NFL, one of the most powerful corporations in the world, worth billions and billions of dollars. How does TMZ get the video over Roger Goodell? Right. How does Harvey Levin have more connections and power than Roger Goodell does? Like, at gunpoint, do you think he didn't see the video? Well, here's the thing. I'd have to think he didn't see it, because in this day and age, you got to think that's going to get out, right? So if it gets out and you only suspended him 2 days, and the perception is that you saw it, you're really screwed. You're screwed more than anything, and that's what's going on right now. So, right. I'm going to say he didn't see it, but whether now there's talk about how he could have seen it. They chose not to see it, and that's a weird gray area. Why? What do you think? I don't understand how nobody saw it. Yeah. You knew it existed. There's no way they didn't have a camera in the elevator. Somebody had the tape. Peter King wrote in late July that some of the Ravens had seen it and some of the NFL had seen it. Then he recanted that yesterday and said he was actually wrong. So he's basically saying, I reported something that was incorrect. The whole thing seems fishy to me. And also, why wouldn't somebody have seen it? Like there's an assault that happens in a casino and they have a camera. So could the casino have been hiding it from people? Did they feel like there was legal liability that they didn't want to, mess with? I mean, honestly, that seems more likely than Goodell saw it and chose to ignore it. I mean,
it's outrageous. You can't think in this day and age there would be a cover up, no matter how much money the NFL has, and why they would do it in the first place. I don't know.
But I'm guessing they had bad information about the tape. The best case scenario of this tape, which obviously is not a best case scenario, was that, she slipped or something and hit her head. That was the only scenario that would have not been horrible.
Right. But then you don't drag her out there. You
right.
Put her over your shoulders like, a guy does it when his girlfriend or wife is drunk and passes out in the casino.
But if Ray Rice is saying, here's what happened, and he's telling a total lie about the story, and they don't have the tape, then you're taking a real leap of faith by trusting this guy, especially after you've seen how he acted in the footage that we did see, where he certainly didn't seem very remorseful or concerned about his unconscious wife.
Right.
I had a lot of problems with how they handled it. I don't think by itself it was fireable, but I think when you add the other 8 to 9 ridiculous things that Goodell has done, I think he should step down. I think we need a new commissioner.
He could step down. And let me ask you this. Now, the Ravens, there's conflicting numbers on how much they lose salary cap-wise by just cutting Ray Rice, but it's in the millions. I thought between 5 and 7 or something. The NFL pays for that, right? That's a check written on the side that is buried somewhere. Right?
You think so?
Well, that's their screw-up. It's 100% their screw-up.
If I'm the Ravens owner, I'm sorry, that guy's worth a lot of money. I'm trying to get a hold of that tape before it comes out in week 1, because we know it existed.
But can't they not act before the league acts or something like that, and then the league can't act before the courts act? It's a mess in terms of the Ravens are the only team that gets screwed in that they have to cut them, and then they deal with the liability after that.
But how does Harvey Levin get the tape? It makes me think somebody leaked it. Okay, so why did somebody leak it? What do they have to gain? Who's the winner in that scenario, leaking this tape that comes out between Sunday and Monday?
Yeah.
Let's move on. I have the Ravens by 3 over the Steelers.
That's exactly what I had, and it's down to 2.5. Ravens are favored by 2.5. But
did it start at 3?
More off of the Ray Rice thing. This Ravens team, is there a more boring team whose games almost all come down to the last 2 minutes?
Yeah, they always have the least exciting 4th and 9 play.
Yeah.
Where it's just like somebody blew a block or.
Yeah, you're disenfranchised by how lame they were the first 3 quarters. And like, oh yeah, this will be close, but I don't even care. But all right, we split that.
Are you leaning toward? Do you feel like the Rice, this whole saga and everything, and the fallout and everything about what happened here, did this submarine their season? Because I wasn't feeling great about their season anyway.
Yeah, I didn't. I had them at like 7 wins, and I think that's what they'll end up with.
I just feel like this is going to be a pall this is going to be a cloud that hangs over them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't see how they rally and be like, hey, man, let's do this for us. Forget about this Ray Rice stuff. Like, he was too big a part of that team.
Well, so do you liken it to the Clipper? No, it's the Clippers, right? The Clipper scenario.
Yeah, the Clippers, like that stuff definitely submarined them in round 2. I think they wore out from it because you have media there day after day after day after day, and I just think it's not going to be an easy situation.
So maybe not immediately, but it'll take its toll. I could see that.
Do you think Ray Rice should ever play again?
No, I don't think anyone will ever. It's not worth picking him up. I don't think he should. He should get the same punishment as Michael Vick. Put him through. But now do they retry him? It's a whole weird situation. But no team. And if the Cowboys pick him up, I'm telling you right now, I'm done with them. It's enough.
Well, nobody's going to pick him up this year,
anyway. But I know. But you hear things of Belichick could rehabilitate this guy. That makes you sick, that kind of thing, doesn't it?
Yeah. I need to think about this more. I mean, down the road, it's hard for me to believe somebody should just lose their livelihood forever because they made a horrible mistake.
Right. But you want a guy to show remorse, step one.
That's
right?
the problem. He hasn't shown remorse. And maybe he does. For that reason, you're right. He probably doesn't deserve a second chance. He needs to start rehabbing how people feel about him right now.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Speaking 27. Of not deserving a second chance, maybe Dallas at Tennessee.
Boy, this Titans team really lucked out. It's a great. You get the Chiefs, whose season was already about to fall apart, and then they get the 2 major injuries. Now you get Dallas. I had trouble with this because I don't know if Vegas can totally respect them, and Dallas is a public team. I had this in the Vegas zone. Titans by 4.5.
You went a little high. I said 3, and it's 3.5. So I'll take this one.
All right, I'll be betting.
Tennessee could be 2 games up on Indy. Indy plays home against Philly. They'll probably win, but that's pretty nice if they had a 2-game lead in the AFC South that early on.
Indy plays Monday night against the Eagles. That's losable.
Yeah.
Well, the big thing for Tennessee was that Locker looked good.
Right.
Because he had moments last year where he looked good. I was higher on him than others, but if they can get like a B- out of him this year, it's a pretty interesting team.
And I think if they use McCluster right, like that could be a little more of a dynamic offense than people thought. They could be right in there come
Got a couple
January.
receivers that can make plays.
Yeah. All right. We did Miami, Buffalo, Detroit at Carolina. I hit this one exactly. The only one I hit exactly.
Okay. I have the Panthers by 3.
All right. You should have said 2.5.
Okay.
It'll eventually probably be 3, but Lions 46 drop passes last year, 0 last night. Caldwell.
I don't know who the Nobody Believes in Us team is, but the favorites for the Nobody Believes in Us team for September are Buffalo and Carolina.
Yeah.
I monitor this stuff very closely now. I'm always looking for little hints and quotes. Buffalo is the runaway favorite right now. They've openly said nobody believes in us.
They did?
Yeah.
They
don't feel like anyone believes in them.
You should be getting paid anytime someone says that.
And then Carolina spent the whole month leading up to the season hearing about how they weren't contenders anymore and they're out and they've lost too many people. And I think they took a lot of that personally. You got to remember that for week 1 next year.
And I like this game a lot. I highly recommend not betting it because you will lose. No matter who you take, you'll lose. No question.
How much of that Panthers-Bucks game did you watch?
Well, I watched. I got upset with the Cowboys, and it was the only other game that was on. I watched Serena play a little bit, but yeah, I watched most of it. And then those uniforms got me sick. So
Derek Anderson was staggeringly competent in that game.
Sure, yeah.
He was like, I would say he played good quarterback.
Yeah.
Until the last throw that the Tampa guy dropped.
With 0 mobility. He just stood back there and did what he wanted.
Made good throws. He was throwing darts. Derek Anderson.
Yeah. I like that game. All right, New Orleans at Cleveland.
I had no idea what to do with this game. I had Saints by 5.
Ooh, I'm going to get this. I said 7 at 6.5. And
that's a lot of points for Breeze outside in the Midwest.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, we think in terms of 2-team teasers a lot.
I'm not doing that.
I don't think my Super Bowl pick is going to go 1-2, so unfortunately I'm going to have them somewhere, I think.
Controversial opinion. Brian Hoyer is not bad at playing quarterback.
Let me tell you something. How much of that Cleveland game did you watch? I have them on all the time now because of our friend Alec is the president still. But 4th and 7 at the Pittsburgh 36. There's 3 minutes and change left in the fourth quarter. What do you do?
What was the score?
It's tied. I'm sorry.
4th and 7 from the 36. I'd probably pooch punt with the quarterback.
Oh, man. Well, they regular punted it, and of course it went into the end zone.
I wouldn't have regular punted.
3 idiots tried to, bat it back in, and it didn't work. But why not go for it in this day and age?
Yeah, you're right. Why not? I changed my mind. I would have gone for it.
It's not 4th and 14. You're on the road. Every third play is a pass interference, illegal use of the hands, or something. Go for it. I mean, Browns coaches have been fired for much less than that. I'm surprised that wasn't a bigger deal. And then, of course, Pittsburgh comes down and wins in overtime. Not a good start.
You can't feel great about it if you're a Steeler fan. I can tell you that much.
No. Jacksonville at Washington.
Oh.
I think so. If I'm crossing off a team from playoff contention every year, I think loses this game joins the Rams.
It's the cross-off ball?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I think the line should be, and I'll tell you what I think the line is.
Okay.
I think the line should be red by 3.5, but I think the line is red by 6.
You're going to get this. because what it is 5.5, and I said 6.5.
Okay.
So you get that one.
That's 2.5 points too high because the Reds are not good at football.
They're not that good.
Oh, we
Yeah.
kept saying Reds. I'm sorry, I forgot. See, this is the problem with forgetting that you can't
I
say
know.
a name.
There's a lot of
the
stuff you
Washington
can't talk
professional
about.
football team. My bad. I zoned out.
Sorry, New England at Minnesota.
Well, hey now. I'm worried the Vikings might be good. There's a there's a lot that scares me about this game.
And you haven't even seen Teddy Bridgewater flash of stuff
It
yet.
could go wrong in a lot of ways, but I am going to take solace in the fact that the Patriots usually don't lose back-to-back games, and the thought of an 0-2 Patriots start during the Belichick era is inconceivable.
Dome after a loss? What do you
I
think?
have the Pats favored by 3.5.
Well, see, all right. Now, none of that makes sense with that reasoning. I had the same reasoning. They don't lose after a loss. They're Tom Brady. This is the Vikings hungover after a big win. I said 6. I think it should be as high as 6, and you're exactly right. It's 3.5.
Well, the Pats aren't very good.
Oh, man.
I went from thinking they were the 2014 Spurs to worrying that we might not go 10-6.
Wow. So you don't like a Saints-Patriots teaser right now?
Can I give you an absolute? Well, I'm going to ask you. What do you think the Pats' record is in their last 8 road games?
Well, they have 2 losses against Miami. You're counting last week.
Last 8 road games, kind of last week.
And so they lost in the playoffs. Well, what is it? 3-5, 2-6,
2-6.
Yeah,
2-6 on the road in their last 8 games on the road. That's not good. That's not good at all. Does not
It's
make
not
me
good.
feel good. I do not have a warm, fuzzy feeling in my heart about that stat.
I take away the Belichick after a loss thing. As long as that's a solid trend, I'm gonna stick with that.
Listen, it's worked for 13 years,
Yeah.
but I think
right.
that line goes down to 3 by Sunday.
God, really?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know.
I think people like this Vikings team, and I think the more people look at that tape and the more the sharps look at that stuff, and it just, the Pats did a lot of things bad in that game.
Well, no offense to your fantasy football team, but Cordarrelle Patterson's not going to end up with over 100 yards rushing a game. I just don't think it's going to happen.
You know how the Vikings got Patterson, right?
Who was it? The Redskins? No, how'd they do it?
The Patriots had the 29th pick in the draft and
right.
traded down for like a second rounder and another second rounder or
Right.
whatever, and he could have been a Patriot.
What would you have done with that guy?
Yeah.
He wouldn't have made
It's
the team.
tough. It's tough to imagine how you would have used him.
Arizona Cardinals fly to New York to play the Giants.
I have this as Arizona by 1.5, but I think it goes to 3 by game time.
You're going to get this. I screwed this up completely. I said Giants by 2.
Oh, no.
Maybe I did this before the game yesterday. I don't know. I'll
God.
stick with it. No, it's Arizona by 1. You say it goes to 3 eventually?
Yeah, I picked 1.5, but I think it ends up Cardinals by 3.
Cardinals can't afford to lose any non-division game, right?
They look good. Their defense looked really, really good yesterday.
Yeah, it
And
did.
I thought losing Dockett and losing Washington, I didn't think their defense was going to be on the level it was. Their secondary is great.
Yep.
I mean, and all they were doing was blitzing and just covering dudes. And Rivers couldn't do anything.
You had Rivers. He was throwing sidearm to avoid blitzes. It was a little messy towards the end there.
It was interesting that San Diego couldn't come up with any sort of game plan to combat. Here comes 7 guys every time, and we're just going to cover all your 4 receivers single coverage, and this is going to work every time.
I thought Danny Woodhead would be used on a bubble screen once or twice to avoid something
Weird.
like that. But
Like you don't have that one trick, pull it out of the safety chest play.
right, yeah.
That was a stupid game. 17-6, and for whatever reason, I never thought San Diego had that game locked down.
Mm-hmm.
Just had that feeling. You could just feel it.
You know what I was thinking? You know, people get a kick out of Tony Romo throwing interceptions, and I can't understand it because I'm a Cowboys fan. It's demoralizing to me. But a real funny thing that happens to a quarterback a lot is Phil Rivers, who loses his mind when the play clock goes down to 0 and it's snapped and flags come in the air and he swats the ball down with one hand.
I love that.
That to me is funny. That's what people should embrace more than Romo throwing an interception.
Well, I actually won money on that game because I had a parlay. I had the Chargers +3 with over under 0.5 of Chris Berman after Donald Butler tackle, saying the Butler did it. So I felt great about that.
Oh, he had another one too. Who intercepted the ball for the Cardinals? Oh, he had another one. What was it?
I think I love Trent Dilfer. I'm a huge fan of his, and I'm going to have him on the podcast next week. I'm still trying to figure out the segue from talking about the Ravens to his Nike camp. It was one of the weirdest moments in recent television history.
It makes total sense.
I was like, what? Where are we going?
Listen, that
whole sequence is amazing.
Let those guys bury themselves. Well, you and I are going to be calling that game 6 years from now, the late Monday game. Except there'll be 3 games. That one, the third one, will run at 3 a.m. Eastern time. We will we'll call.
We'll be at a 13-minute delay.
Yeah.
As Podcast Joe edits the actual broadcast, so we don't screw it up.
You're coming with us, Joe. All right, best early game on the slate, I think, Atlanta at Cincinnati.
Oh. I will say
we're tied going into this game, 5-5.
There was a really good Matt Ryan fantasy QB stud case to be made before the season, and some people drafted him accordingly, and looks like he's going to put up huge numbers.
Yeah.
I wish he was one of my 4 quarterbacks.
Well, here's why you wish, because he's someone else's backup, and there's a lot of trash talk going on in our fantasy league because you drafted 4 quarterbacks. Everyone says it's a bad. People say it's a bad move, and you're going to be crying for one of these guys. Who are your backups? Russell Wilson.
I have Wilson, Kaepernick, Nick Foles, and Stafford. But then now the Jennies in our league have Andrew Luck and Matt Ryan.
And Matt Ryan. So you don't even have the best backup.
I don't, but he's probably not. If I were them, I wouldn't trade one of those guys. Just keep him and just start him, and you're in great shape.
All right, it's going to be interesting to see if this works out. What do you have?
I should mention that your quarterbacks are Tony Romo and Alex Smith, so I'm expecting a phone call from you any day.
All right, well, I'll have you know I dropped Alex Smith and picked up Carson Palmer, who's equally as mediocre.
Oh, cool. Congratulations.
I had, what do you have here? Atlanta.
Oh, for Atlanta?
Yeah.
I like this Bengals team. I thought that was a great win.
Yep.
I thought the Ravens played pretty well, and that was a hard game to win. And Baltimore is a really tough place to play, and the Bengals pulled it off, and that was a nice win for them. Made me even more. We both of us believe that that's a legitimate contender, and I feel good about that. I have the Bengals by 4.
I said 4 also. It started at 6, and it's 4.5 now.
That ends up at 4.
Great game. Great game-changing receivers on both teams, running backs. It's going to be a fun game.
Awesome AJ Green touchdown.
Yeah.
Really great. Really, really like exactly what you want the best player in your team to do in a huge moment. It made me feel the opposite that I felt about Tom Brady's throw to Julian Edelman.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you didn't like that one?
No, I didn't. I'm really worried about Brady. I really am. I'm really genuinely concerned.
But that's one of the week 1 overreactions. Let's see what he does in the Dome against Minnesota. Let's see what he does.
My dad and I had a whole conversation trying to remember the last time he completed a pass of over 20 yards, and we couldn't remember.
Yeah. The extra week of practice for Gronkowski, it'll do. You'll see. I don't want to convince you that the Patriots are going to be good, because I know it's...
Nah, listen, I'm just telling you now, I'm picking them in my column, because until they lose back-to-back games, I'm not going against them.
All right. Great late afternoon game, Seattle at San Diego. I think it's great. I think San Diego is better than they played yesterday, too.
Me too. That was a weird game. What time did that game start?
10:20 East Coast.
It was 11 o'clock at night on the West Coast. They're still playing like that. That was stupid.
Yeah.
And plus they I thought the doubleheader yesterday took a lot of attention away from Bachelor in Paradise. And Bachelor in Paradise even got bumped in New York and Detroit. Julia Littman was very
that was the finale, right?
Yeah, and a lot of great stuff happened.
Oh no. Yeah, ABC. I think it was last Thursday. The NBC showed the Seattle game, and same day ABC announced their new cast of The View and Dancing with the Stars lineup, and add Bachelor in Paradise up against Monday Night Football. Great.
Bachelor in Paradise had good ratings.
It did?
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
It was the number one show for 18 to 30, 18 to 49, something.
I didn't see that. All right, good. ABC, go.
I think it should be on for 52 weeks a year. I'm already on the record. I just think it never ends. Just more and more people come into the house, and eventually it ends in the season finale when our friend Brad shows up.
Well, you know what? We're going to get you, after we're done, you and I announcing the second ESPN Monday Night Football game. That's where we'll put you next. You're on Bachelor in Paradise.
Great. Look forward to it.
Okay. Seattle at San Diego.
Seattle by 4.
I said 4.5, and it's 6.
Whoa!
Way
Shocker.
high. That's just Vegas saying we're not giving any Seahawks backers any free money this year.
Unfortunately for San Diego, Seattle probably watched Monday night's game and can do the exact same thing of just blitzing every down and covering the receivers with their 4 D-backs.
Yeah.
That's
not
a problem.
Great deal for San Diego on 6 days rest. You know, they're home, but Seattle, that's hardly a trip for Seattle. They could be 0-2. I like them to represent.
Oh, we forgot with the Cardinals game. That's a legit factor that we didn't mention. The Cardinals played late Monday night West Coast, and they play 1 p.m. Sunday East Coast.
Oh, interesting. On the road.
That's not fun.
And they're favored. Yeah. All right. That's something.
And everyone in New York all week is going to bury Eli Manning and talk about how terrible he is.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I don't mind that. I like this breakdown, though. 8 early games, 5 late afternoon games, and then, Thursday, Sunday night, and Monday night. That's how it should be.
Congratulations to CBS for a brilliant decision to show Serena Williams' rout in the women's final again instead of showing live football. Great. Good move.
Yeah. It was 37 minutes long. Of
good move. The match was over in 1 minute. You could have had a football game on.
Yeah. Talk about a football game. St. Louis at Tampa Bay.
Oh.
I don't know how hard the Rams try, knowing now that I declared they won't make the playoffs. But
Tampa needs to win by a lot of points in this game to prove to people that they might be good at football. I have the Bucks by 6 points.
Yeah, you're going to get it. I said 7. I went even higher. I thought this St. Louis was going to be the free money team, and it's 5.5. So you get that, and it's now 7-7 with 5 games remaining.
Are we legally allowed to put Josh McCown in a tease?
Oof. I don't know. It's hard to believe one of these teams is going to be 1-1.
All right, keep going.
I don't like it at all. Jets at Green Bay.
I had trouble with this one because it's definitely over 8 points. And the Packers are definitely going to be pissed off. And they have 10 days rest. And the Jets offense looks horrible. I have the Packers by 9.
Yes, good. I said 8.5, and it's 8.
Oh.
So you would not put Packers, Patriots, Saints, teams who all could possibly go 0-2. You would not put them together on a money line parlay. You think one of them loses?
I'll be teasing the Packers with somebody. I can tell you that much.
The Packers, yeah.
Yeah. They will be in my gambling life on Sunday.
They have lots of trouble though with that. The right tackle's out. And I don't know. I didn't dig what Aaron Rodgers was doing. He lost his cool. He yells at the rookie center. Settle down. You sat out the first 3 years of your career, and this guy's making his debut under impossible conditions in Seattle, and you're screaming at him on national television. He needs a discount double reality check, if you ask me.
Oh, great setup.
I don't know.
Really
I don't
good.
like the way he treated
really good
Norm.
setup. You wrote me in on that one. I didn't know where you were going, and you pulled it off. It was great.
Right.
Nice work.
Also in the calm down department, Rex Ryan jumping around the sidelines. You beat the Raiders at home. Relax.
I have the Rex Ryan answer.
What is it?
They've ruined inside the NFL.
Oh, put him on? Yeah.
That's it, Rex. You're going to get fired at the end of this Jet season anyway.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Just go now and go save inside the NFL before nobody watches it.
I don't get what's going on. First of all, I think you quit on it, you said last year. I did. Joe. I loved Collinsworth and Sims. I suspect what happened is not nearly
Let's move on. We have 3 games left.
All right, I know. All right, cut it all out. Houston at Oakland.
We just had to cut out everything you just said.
Yeah,
I have
go ahead.
the Texans by 2.5 in Oakland.
That's what I had, and it's 3. It's that high. So
okay. I don't mind Derek Carr.
I don't either, and I'm trying to figure out how Matt Schaub screws over the Texans just one more time from the Raiders bench. I haven't figured it out yet, but
maybe somebody gets hurt for a series.
Yeah, that could be it. All right, KC at Denver.
No.
I was way, way off on this.
I have the Denver Broncos by 10.5 points.
All right, that's good enough. I said 9.5. 13.5.
Whoa. Okay.
13.5.
So long, Kansas City.
I mean, do you remember a line this high in week 2 where the underdog was a playoff team from last year and really no major injury? I know Dwayne Bowe. Actually, they do. Derek Johnson and Mike DeVito are out. 2 big defensive injuries, but that's high. That's way high.
It's pretty high. And yet, this year I'm taking underdogs with the points every time. So
man.
I'm just batting 50%. I don't care.
You have to, right? All right, Chicago at San Francisco. This is
Sunday nighter.
Sunday night. It's a good game.
I would lump the Niners into the teams that we have no idea what to expect because I don't think we can take anything away from week 1 with them.
Right. 9-9 going into this game between me and you. So
there's a little nobody believes in us action with the Niners too, because I think a lot of people are writing them off, and by all accounts they've noticed.
Right. I'm not giving up on the Bears. I don't see anything I like from them specifically, but I'm sticking with them.
This is trouble for you because I'm hitting this one exactly.
Yeah, probably.
Niners by 6.
Oh, well, that's what I said, and it's 7. So it comes down to the last game for us. We're tied going in, and that's Monday night. It's Philly at Indianapolis.
It's a tough one.
Yep.
I have this in the Vegas zone. I have the Colts by 4.5.
Yes. I said 3.5, and it's only 3.
Oh, you beat me.
That's a win for Cousin Sal.
Colts by 3?
Yeah. Colts by 3.
That seems low.
Andrew the Giant Luck, you're coming into this game only a 3-point favorite, a tough task in the form of the Philadelphia Eagles this week.
Well, one of the things I've tried to do is master the wrestling move of getting my ass kicked the whole match and then rallying at the tail end. It's an old wrestling tradition, once used by Guri and Martel in the 70s, and I try to do that with my football games.
There are comments from the 9th wonder of the world, Andrew the Giant Luck.
How many times can he fall down by 21 points? Why don't we just bet the over for largest lead of the game every time Indy's on the road?
Yeah, or first half on whoever they're playing. That could be the way to go.
Well, you beat me. Congratulations.
That's it. All right, we're tied 1-1 going into week 3. Jimmy Kimmel Live tonight, Bill Hader, Rich Linklater. Did I write that right? Yep. Later in the week, Queen Latifah, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Morgan Freeman, and Julianne Hough. You can see me on Twitter at @TheCousinSal. Grantland blog on Thursday focuses on the night game props. And my Sports Center debut, not sure when, anytime from Thursday night till Sunday a.m. So just watch them all. What are you doing anyway? Just watch every one of them.
You can tweet, though, and say when it starts.
That's true. I might do that. Yeah.
Okay. I look forward to seeing that.
Good times.
The Cuz, a pleasure, as always. We'll talk to you soon.
Good job by you, Billy.
Good job by you.
So I get to sign off. Whoa.
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Pod Center at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.